guys, welcome to another chapter of reading from bridal magazines and learning from what people tell us in a different edition. Today we're going to be reading from the Not Chicago. This is the magazine that we're going to be reading. It's from the fall winter 2016, and today's article, it's called What to Look For in a Ceremony Site. When looking for the perfect place to say I do, don't say yes to the space until you've checked all of these must-haves. It's written by Simone Hill. Let's see if what they're telling us, what they're suggesting is what we need to do to find our perfect ceremony site. Whether you're searching for a spot at the same venue as your reception or for a different location altogether, your ceremony site should check off a number of must-haves on your list, from proximity to the reception space to unforeseen fees. Here are the details to consider before making your final decision. Number one, well, they're not numbered, but I'm gonna just number them. Number one, the venue fees work for your budget. The venue manager should tell you the cost of renting the space for the ceremony up front, as well as many other expenses. If you're getting married in a house of worship, call and ask about the suggested donation amount, or ask other couples who got married there to make sure the price isn't going to totally throw off your budget. Similarly, if you're getting married on the beach or in a public park, inquire about permits you might need to pay to getting kitched there. This is true. Even weddings in Mexico City is very, very important that when you choose a venue, some venues have special ceremony spaces and they charge extra to use that space for the ceremony. Other venues have all the spaces included and you can get married wherever. So yes, do ask that. Also, talking about houses of worship, we have a lot of churches here in Mexico City, and there are some that are so beautiful, and everybody wants to get married there, that the donations fee are over the sky, like super high. So it's something that you need to take into account. Number two, the reception venue is nearby. If your reception venue doesn't have what you're looking for in a ceremony space, or there are other constraints or religious requirements, then it may make sense to have your ceremony in a different location. Know that choosing separate spaces may lead to extra costs and coordination though. If you have your ceremony and reception in different locations, prepare to pay more on several details, including in-between transportation for yourself and your guests. Even though you're not obligated to provide guests with transportation, it's a thoughtful touch for the out-of-towners who pay to travel to your wedding. Venue fees, and even photography and videography, because hosting your wedding in two different places takes more time. Minimize the added expenses by keeping your ceremony space close to your reception venue. 100% true. Simone is on the spot with this recommendation. The reception venue should be nearby your ceremony venue. We cater a lot of American couples weddings in Mexico City, and we definitely have to take into account that amount for transportation for the guests, because the 100% of the guests come from abroad, so we have to transport them. And if it's a different place than the venue, then we have to pay for that as an extra. Okay. Number three, it can fit all your guests. It seems obvious, but the size of your ceremony space really matters. The maximum capacity of a space is usually set for fire safety regulations, so this isn't something to take lightly. In fact, it's possible the overfilling the space might lead your ceremony venue to turn you go away or stop guests from coming inside. Yikes. If the ceremony site you love can't fit your guests, you'll need to decide whether your priority is the ceremony space or getting to invite everyone on your guest list. If you're scoping out a spot, a good rule of thumb is to have at least 10 square feet per guest. That's not factoring in the space you'll need for your aisle, altar, and musicians. So also consider the seating arrangement you want for your ceremony. A circular or amphitheater style setup may require more room than traditional rows. The event coordinator of your wedding planner should know the exact guest count that the space can accommodate and can help you determine the best layout possible. Very true. One thing that we always help guests, our couples with, are the layouts for the ceremony space, so that you know exactly where everybody is going to be sitting down and if you can fit everybody into that one space. I remember we did this one wedding and the space was really small. We had everybody cramped. The wedding was happening in June, summer wedding, so it was super hot. We ended up hiring fans on the last minute so that people wouldn't be like sweating like crazy during the ceremony. So yeah, that point was really important. So now we're moving on. Point number 4. You can use a space for as much time as you need. You'll require access to the ceremony space for at least 2 to 3 hours, so there's enough time to set up and break down without feeling pressured, especially if there's another wedding before or after yours. On the opposite end of things, some venues may have a minimum amount of time that they'll allow you to rent the space, and if the minimum time is way more than you need, you'll likely end up paying for it, which is something to negotiate with the venue and to factor into your budget. Very true. You have to check how much time you are able to use for the space of the ceremony. Next point, number 5, it has the must-have amenities. The average ceremony lasts about 30 to 45 minutes, which may not seem like a long time, but most of your guests will arrive 15 to 30 minutes early, and it takes at least a few minutes to exit the venue. Altogether, it's enough time that your guests will need easy access to a restroom and wouldn't be sitting in sweltering heat without shade or left out in the cold without heat. Take into account whether these are basic amenities in place for your guests, like restrooms, parking, heating or air conditioning, and what the cost will be if you needed to bring in, say, portable restrooms, valet service, heaters, or umbrellas for shade. If there are no outlets in reach, you can always use a small portable generation as a backup, says Annie Lee, founder of Daughter of Design in New York City. Once you've ticked all the basic essentials of the list, think about other crucial but still important details, like whether the space allows candles or other decor you'll want to have, or if it's possible to set up amplified sound. If it's an outdoor ceremony, you'll want your guests to be able to hear without the officiant having to scream at the top of their lungs, says Jeannie Savage, founder of California-based Details. These must-have amenities is something super important to check for your ceremony. There are 3 more items we have to discuss. There's plenty of peace and quiet. Having some privacy is important for your reception, but more so for the ceremony. I agree completely. This is a time when you want to be fully present, and any loud noises or unexpected passersby can take away from the intimate, romantic feeling and distract your guests. Ask the venue manager questions about whether you'll have the space to yourselves the entire time and how they plan to keep others out, or if there will be a few weddings that day, if there are some public places nearby. If you're getting married in a public place like a park or a museum where it may not be possible to get privacy, you'll need to decide if not having guaranteed seclusion and quiet is something that you're okay with in order to say I do in your dream ceremony space. If gawking strangers will be distracting to you, consider an alternative venue. This happens a lot in beach weddings. These big resorts that they have a lot of weddings happening at the same time, and then you're on the beach and people are passing by on a bathing suit. Some people don't care. Some couples are super laid back and say, it's okay, I don't care. But some others get like really stressed, and sometimes us as wedding planners, we cannot stop people from walking on the beach. Beach is public space, so just take that into account. Number 7, there's flattering lighting for the time of day when you're getting married. Aside from the walk down the aisle, you'll be standing in one place for the majority of the ceremony, so it's important that lighting is just right for photos and so your guests can actually see what's going on. If your ceremony will be outdoors, figure out that the sun will hit at the time of day you're planning to get married. Indoors, the sun can make an impact on the lighting of the space if there are large windows. Think about the time of sunset and how much light will be coming in, for example. You do not want weird tree shadows or guests glaring into the sun, Lee says. Yeah, this is super true. Whenever you're getting married and you have like the sun on top of your head and you look like these with your little eyes and shadows under your eyes, you don't want that for your ceremony photos. And finally, there's a plan B. While anything other than the exact vision you had for your wedding might seem simply unacceptable, Mother Nature could have other plans. Anticipate the unexpected and have a backup plan ready. Should the weather refuse to cooperate and send showers your way, if you're planning an outdoor ceremony, discuss an indoor alternative or tent setup with your venue coordinator. If your ceremony is indoors, be equipped with umbrellas. Golf ones provide the maximum coverage, and even rain boots to stay dry during the walk from the limo to the venue. And most importantly, don't let a little rain dampen your whole day. After all, some say it's good luck. I think all of these advice to choose a ceremony space was really on point by Simone Hill. So I hope that you can do, we actually have a checklist that we're going to be putting in the comments if you want your I do checklist, the steps to planning your ceremony. So I hope these comments helped you decide on where you want to have your ceremony happening, and let us know in the comments if you have any other ideas. See you in the next video.